Welcome to the marketing session about personal sales. Personal sales is the first instrument within the marketing mix instrument of communication. Within the next videos, we will hear about advertising, sales promotion, public relation and online marketing. And today our session is focused on personal sales. In my opinion, personal sales is the most important marketing communication instrument of all for family business companies. Why? Because most of family business companies, they are dealing directly face-to-face with customers. These can be consumers coming on a market booth to buy my vegetable. These can also be other companies like wholesalers or agents. But it's always the same face-to-face personal sales communication. And most of these companies, they have only a little bit of advertising. Maybe they have some advertising in their shops and so on. But the rest of the instruments, they have a minor influence on the marketing mix of a family business company. Therefore, I have the opinion it is the most important part, personal sales for family business companies. And let's start now. What is the goal of personal sales? We can see here a typical personal sales situation. Here's a seller. He wants to sell something to the customer or to the potential customer. And what is the goal? He wants to convince the customer or the potential customer of the benefits of his product or service. And he wants to convince him in an honest way, not to persuade him. He wants really to convince him because it should establish a long-term partnership, and this customer shall be satisfied and shall not regret the decision to buy this product. He shall come back and should be a fan, coming back and buy it again and again, and maybe also to make word of mouth marketing for you and make recommend you to other potential customers. This is the goal of personal sales, to convince him. Personal sales has two main functions. The first function, if this person is a non-customer, is a new customer or a potential customer. Therefore, the first function is acquisition of new customers. And there is a ratio known in business. This is called 7-to-1 ratio. That means it is 7 times more effort necessary to win a new customer than to hold an existing one. Therefore, acquisition is a very hard job. It costs hard work, it costs time, and it costs money. 7-to-1 ratio. Therefore, please keep always in mind and look on your existing customers in a very positive way, because it's hard to get new ones. But you need new ones all the time, of course. The second function of personal sales is communication. This can be a simple communication like I give you some information about the product, about the service. But this can also be deeper information like consultancy. And it can also be communication on a non-verbal way. That means what is he transforming or transporting, what kind of image of himself, of the seller, or the corporate image of the whole company he is transporting to the customer. And this is done mainly in a non-verbal way. Is it proper? Is it clean dressed? Is it dirty? Is it damaged? Or is it because if the seller is a little bit dirty, you can also be sure that the product is not very clean. This is something which is in a non-verbal communication. Therefore, second function is communication. And something I would like to emphasize in personal sales especially for family business company, is one fact. The owner of the company, of the family business company, he is a role model. And it is very important how he is dealing when he is selling, how he is dealing with the customer. How is he treating the customer? Is he treating the customer how he would like to be treated as a customer? This is very important, because when the boss is in personal sales with a customer, he is observed by his family members and by his staff members. And the way he is dealing and communicating with the customer, they will adapt. They will copy him. They will also work in the same way. If he's a customer-oriented, hands-on type, helpful, helping the customer, serving the customer, you can be sure that his staff and his family members, especially, they are normally in the same mindset and doing the same treatment of the customer. Now, I would like to do something special in this video. I would like to share with you 7 practical tips for personal sales. These are 7 tips I made by myself in all the years of experience in personal sales, in marketing and sales. And therefore, it is my passion to share this with you, and you can share it, of course, you should share it with your mentees, because it's fitable and suitable for family business companies. Let's start with tip number 1. Tip number 1 you will find already in your handout. 4 channels of communication is it called. And my tip number 1 is use all 4 channels of communication. Because if you, and this is very often today, write something to your customers instead of having the personal sales on the phone or in face-to-face situation, you have only the word, which is the content. But what is missing here in this communication is the rest, the kind of non-verbal communication. This means in the face-to-face situation in personal sales, you have to concentrate on your voice. Use your voice. The voice is the first thing the customer hears. And he will, in his subconscious, he will decide, do I like this voice? Do I like the way he's speaking? Do I like his kind of kindness? This is very important for him. He's deciding this in a subconscious process. And play with your voice. And the voice is something which is very important to emphasize the content. Your face, the mimic. Don't be serious all the time. Take a smile. But don't laugh about your customer, of course, not. But smile, be friendly. Look at him, be friendly. This is very important. And the mimic, because the customer will look in your eyes. In the telephone, he cannot do this. And here, if you're face-to-face in personal sales, he can see your eyes and he will see, oh, can I trust this person or not? This is also something which is running in a process within subconscious process. The last thing is gesture. How is he doing? Is he hiding something behind his body, or how is he standing here? This is something what is also transporting an image to the customer or to the potential customer. And work with this. How is the handshake? And so on. These are very important things, and you have to play with this. You have to use these 3 things next to the content. It's very important. Think of this in your handout. This was tip number 1. Use all 4 channels of communication. Let's come to tip number 2. The tip number 2 means, I will start with a question. Why do we have, as human beings, 2 ears, 1 mouth? Because my tip number 2 means first listen, then thinking, then speaking. Why do I give you this advice to do, because I very often see this in personal sales practice, that people in sales positions, they speak too much. They do not listen to the customer. They speak and speak and speak and speak all the time. They do not listen because they think, I know the product much better than the customer, therefore I have to tell him all about the product. I am the specialist. I have to explain him all the thing. But the most important thing, never forget the 2 ears. Listen to him. Why are you interested? Therefore, I have to listen. And how do I get this information? How can I listen to him? When I ask questions. And always ask questions. Not go with facts, go with questions. Take the 5 W questions. Why, who, what, where, when. Plus the how question. And then he will provide you with information and you will get more details and real details. Why he is interested or why he is not interested or when he is interested. You get more information instead of a simple yes or no answer. Take the 5 W's plus how questions. And then listen and then think about what kind of information you got and make a solution for him and then speak. Not speak in the beginning too much. This was tip number 2. First listen, then speaking. Let's come to tip number 3. Tip number 3 means walking in your customer's shoes. Why should I walk in his shoes? This is a saying that means that you have to look through the eyes of a customer. You have to feel his pain points in the shoes. Where is it not so comfortable? Where is it comfortable? In which position is it okay? When is it not okay? Walking, it's different. If it's going in a different situation, it's going up the hill, it's different than going down. Okay, you see, going down I have other problems, and so on. Walking in your customer's shoes with one objective. I want to learn about his benefits and about his real needs. And in your handout, you have the iceberg theory. And you will see the iceberg theory is very often used here and is a very helpful tool in sales to get the benefit, the real causes of a customer. Because if you ask him, often, or you will assume that you know the reason and the benefits, but it's like in a iceberg. You see only 20% on the surface. Under the water, under the surface, there's the big part, the 80%. You do not see these emotions. These are emotional and rational reasons and causes and motivations. And here you can only come in this field if you use tip number 2's questions. If you ask why, when, another why, and how, to get deeper, to get more information, get more in the deepness of in the depth of the customer's real motivation. And then you can notice, you can have an idea about his benefits, about his values, but also about his problems, and you can create here a package for him or for her, which is a benefit of customer value. This was tip number 3, walking in your customer's shoes. Let's come to tip number 4. Tip number 4 means a saying. Sell the problem you solve, not the product. What does it mean? Sell the problem you solve, not the product. Quite easy. If you observe some people in sales positions, in shops, in restaurants, most of them, they are only speaking about the product, because they are thinking, I'm the specialist, I know everything about the product, I have to inform you about all technical details. And sometimes they will be like machine guns. They bring you one fact after the other. Fact, 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 fact. There are only facts. And the customer, he is blown down by the facts. He cannot realize where is a benefit for me because it was so many facts. But how does the benefits I want to have match all these facts? And therefore, it is a very important thing not to sell the product, sell the problem you solve. What does it mean? The problem you solve is here the benefit and the value for him, or the pain point. And I have here a solution. And I will change the view of the communication. Therefore, I will change the communication from my product, like my product is 1 kilogram, it's the fastest one, it has only 3 tires and so on. Instead of all these features, you change the point of view and say, you as a customer, you will get this, you will win this, you can reduce, you will be able to optimize, you can increase or decrease something. You will see the customer will realize, okay, I will gain, I will have some benefits. They will solve me problems. They will bring me an added value. If you communicate and you change the communication to you customer, not my product is or our company has, no, you as a customer will have. Therefore, change this communication in the argumentation, you will have this benefit with my solution I can provide you. Okay, this was tip number 4. Sell the problem you solve, not the product. Now, tip number 5. Tip number 5 says, appeal several senses, several customer senses. Why? Because mostly, I have here the product, I will show the product, and most use sense is to see. But this is very often not enough. Imagine if you go in a market, you would like to touch also the vegetable to see it's hard or not. And this is very important sense, the haptics. And the haptics is something which is underestimated very often. Because haptics is the only sense you cannot cozen. That means you cannot bluff it. You can bluff sometimes your view if you cannot see it very clear or you hear it not very clear. But feeling, you feel it like it is. You cannot be bluffed or cozen by the haptic sense. And therefore, if you have products, let the customer feel it. Give it in hand. Give him some samples in hand to get up a relationship. Get in touch with the customer. If you say, oh, I'm selling machines, I cannot give him the machine. Of course, but you have maybe leaflets. Take the leaflet. Not only show the leaflet or the catalog only in your side, share it with him and give it to him in his hands. Let him touch it. Get with the haptics, in contact with him. It's very important because you get in touch, you get in contact, and you're a little bit closer to your customer, and that is very, very good in personal sales contact. This was tip number 5, appeal several customer senses. Coming now to tip number 6. Tip number 6 means concentrate on personality types and behavior styles. What does it mean? In another seminar you heard already, or you will hear about it, about the personality types, the behavior styles. Do you remember the red, the yellow, the blue and the green types, personality types and their behavior styles? And this is very important also in personal sales. It is in leadership and in different kinds, but in personal sales it's very important because first of all you have to know what kind of personality type I am by myself, and what is my major behavior style. And then I have to think about what's my opposite, my counter side. What is my counterpart, the potential customer or the customer? Is he more a red type, or is he a green one or a yellow one? Different. And therefore, in this way, you have to argument. You have to go in details, or you have to need a long starting phase. That means to build up the trust, and you have to come to the point very clear, details or no details. This depends on what kind of type it is. And therefore, this is a very important tool you learn in this seminary, also using in personal sales. And this is for me one of the most important ones. This was tip number 6, personality types and behavior styles. Let's come now to last one, to number 7. Tip number 7 is call to action. What does it mean, CTA or call to action? I often observe in shops or in restaurants that the sales staff, they are afraid of the customer, and they are afraid of asking, and is it a deal now, or are we matched to deal? No, you have really to give the customer a soft push to, we say it in German, to close the bag. That means to finalize the personal sale, to finalize the negotiation. Because otherwise it can be a risk that he will leave the shop and doesn't buy anything. You have to really try to push him against the wall, that he can say yes or no. But he has to commit. Do I want to buy now or not? You have to know this. And you have to call to action. You can also ask, for example, there's a very famous question. It's called, do you pay by credit card or by cash? You know, he can say yes or no, but he can also say, I'm sorry, it's too early for me. I have to think about it. But then you have a decision, then you have a commitment. And this is very important. Not forget the call to action, because many people are afraid of call to action. But never forget, there is no customer who will bite you. They will only have to be forced to give a decision or commitment to buy or not to buy, or to buy later. So these were now the 7 practical tips I am familiar with due to my experience in marketing and sales all the many years now. And I hope that this also will help you and your mentees to be more successful in your personal sales activities, which are, you remember, probably the most important marketing mix tool within the communication with customers for family business companies. And wish you good luck and success for the business, and looking forward seeing you in the next video. Goodbye.